and/or? Should we add the word and in there?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yep, for each offense, or we said, yeah, and or. Yeah. Oh, it does say or both.
Oh, it says
It
it
does say or both,
at the end.
yeah.
Or, oh, I didn't see
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Or, yeah. Like the-
Okay.
I asked for 5,000 in 60 days, but I was shot down. But that's okay. I've been hurt before. So I need a motion to, there's no, any comments from the public? Need a motion to close public hearing portion? Deputy Mayor Madonna.
I'll second it.
Trustee Sampson, second. Roll call, trustee Kolar,
Yes.
trustee Sampson,
Yes.
trustee Kolar,
Yes.
deputy mayor Madonna. Need a motion to adopt local law number 7
As
as read and revised.
Yes. So,
Are you making a motion?
yeah, we can motion.
Motion by trustee Sampson, I need a second.
I'll second.
Trustee Kolar, roll call, trustee Kolar,
Yes.
trustee Sampson.
Yes.
Trustee Kolar,
Yes.
deputy mayor Lodato,
Yes.
Mayor Bucko, yes. So local law number 7, amending certain sections of chapter 297 of the Village of Washingtonville Code related to fire hydrants and penalties is hereby adopted by Board 5 here. Very good. Okay, moving right along.
Yeah,
3F.
F and G, the building department asked me to show the board these forms for, oh gosh, for the rental registry.
Mhm.
So one's a rental permit renewal application and the other is the application for a change of occupancy permit. Susan, one of our building inspectors, put these together since we don't have them, and she'd like them to, for us all to review them, if there's anything you need to add to them. And they would like to start using these in the building department. And I believe there are fees on both. On the rental permit renewal application, there's a $25 fee. I don't know if you guys are okay with that.
Well, the renewal, so it's $25 for the application, but the building inspectors have to go into the rental unit as part of the rental registry to do an inspection. So
Mhm.
we need to think about if that's a cost also.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to change inspections will be made between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. Monday through Friday. We are open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It should be a cutoff, but I think 12 noon is a little too early.
Okay.
And then to clarify, the 25 per rental unit is per year, correct?
Yes. I believe it is. But we also need to come up with a fee for the building inspector. So
Right.
I think it's in our best interest to, again, table this,
Mhm.
as we did the other one, to
Mhm.
come up with fees.
Okay.
Bless you.
And there's also a fee on the other form, change of occupancy on the back page, fee of $100.
Okay.
Is this like divided up somehow? I'm trying to-
Yeah, she pieced it together.
Oh, okay.
Again, she was
Okay.
looking at what other municipalities have.
So again, I think we should table both.
Yeah, it's just
fees.
something for everybody to
Yep.
review and see what
session on
December sixth?
December 6th. Okay. 3H, this intermunicipal agreement that you have in front of you was sent to me by Chief Sicaro. Something that we've been involved in for years, right, Chief? Stop DWI, the you want to add anything to this, or?
We do two, the stop DWI grants are two different types. There's one patrol that it's 3 periods, we put extra officers on overtime to just do traffic stops and look for impaired, intoxicated drivers. This one is a crackdown, so if you go to page 4 of the IMA, it lists like Thanksgiving, holiday season, Super Bowl, St. Patrick's Day, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day are the actual, and there's dates there that they ask the police departments to put officers on for those specific dates to enforce the vehicle and traffic law for DWIs. So this is what this contract is. It's a whole year one just for those specific dates. It's not a lot of money, but it's $3,665. But we put extra officers on. The full amount is reimbursed to the village, and any fines or tickets that come back to the village. So it's a
Has it been successful throughout the years?
we're always writing tickets. We hope we don't arrest anybody for DWI. I know that's our goal, but unfortunately we do find people, especially during those specific times.
Someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Stop DWI New York, intermunicipal agreement from Orange County for the October 1, 2021 through September 2022 high visibility engagement campaigns, formerly called Crackdown. Motion was made by trustee Kolar, second by deputy mayor Lodato. Roll call, trustee Kolar,
Yes.
trustee Sampson,
Yes.
trustee Kolar,
Yes.
deputy mayor Lodato,
Yes.
Mayor Buckles. Thank you, chief.
And in the board resolution, it just, you also have to name a person who can execute the contract. Also just in the board resolution, name the mayor.
Thanks. Again, thank you, chief. Okay. Comments on agenda items? Yes.
Tom Benito, 7 Maple. The piece where you're talking about rentals, are you talking about when someone's moving out and someone's moving in?
Yes.
How do you propose to tie that together? To know that someone's moving out and someone's moving in?
The owner has to come forward and let us know. The goal is to really see who's living in these homes. We have the short and long-term rental that we asked earlier. We want to make sure that the unit is safe, especially for fire. So fire inspection would have to be completed. We want to make sure that the owner is still in the, let's take the water billing, should never be put into the tenant's name.
Right.
There's a lot of cross-referencing, it's a lot of work on our part that we all agreed that we would undertake,
Yeah.
but it's really who's living here.
No, I think it's a good idea, especially on the inspection piece, because there's a lot of times, long-term tenants, sometimes the landlords aren't that attentive to smoke detectors and
Right.
things like that, so, but yeah, just to get the landlords on board with this is gonna be a little bit of
It's
would
gonna be a
imagine
challenge.
struggle,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Also, because villages run their elections, who's voting? Okay, if you don't live in the village, you really shouldn't be voting.
True.
So,
Yeah.
So it's serving a dual purpose.
Most of Rockland has it now, Tommy. If you
Yeah,
go to
no,
register
I've
your
seen it.
rental,
Yeah.
and they hold us,
Middletown does it too, I believe, too.
they hold us realtors liable. When we go down there, if we take a rental listing, we have to notify the towns and villages.
I know Monticello started it, fell flat. Major cities are doing it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
work.
and I think too, that you can kind of tie that into the business aspect of things too, like the nail salon, right? That landlord needs to know that any new change of use of building needs to come to the building department to
That
start that process.
That landlord should know.
Should, I mean, a lot of them should, because they've been here for decades.
And
but
the
at end of
conversation I
day,
had
yeah.
with the building department, you know, if we want to find a tenant, I'm not too sure if the tenant needs to be fined. I would like to see the owner of the building be fined, because they know better.
Yeah, right across the board. I mean, probably everybody needs a good refresher on it, depending on what, you know, how
You
you're
need a permit to do anything.
approaching the law. But, you know, the sign permit is always a struggle, right? You gotta, that's a constant with the landlord too. But if they get the package and they know this is what needs to be done, hand it to, you know, Joe who's moving in to put an auto shop in or something. So
Oh,
he knows their A, B, and C, what needs to be done.
also contact information for an LLC who's a landlord.
Right.
You know, village has got no way to reach these people if it's just an LLC that's registered.
Yeah. True.
Okay, comments, any other comments on agenda items? Comments on non-agenda items? So anything.
Yes, I
Just
have
don't throw
mentioned
anything.
to this board before, Depot Plaza, there is still no handicap accessible access to the plaza except through going through La Villa. So if you wanted to get to the pharmacy, the assemblyman's office, to Hennessy, any place else, if La Villa is closed, there is no other ramp access for somebody who has mobility issues.
I actually, you said this at a couple of meetings ago, I spoke to the building inspector about it, and I'll follow up. I forgot to ask, you know, what was the outcome of it. Obviously, there's no ramp there yet, but
Well, and there's new owners that are now putting in Tesla charging stations. So if a different ramp wanted to be built, now it can't in that area.
Okay. Anything else?
Tom DeVinco, 7 Maple. Joe, several months ago, and I've been trying to reach John via email and phone call. I had no correspondence in regards to the property line change between my house and my neighbors, which I think is an easy thing to do. I think the more complicated one was the easement issue going down the road. That seems to be not in line with the road. But I haven't heard anything other than him saying probably back in July that the attorneys were busy, they're working, blah, blah, blah. But my last 3, 4 emails have gone unanswered completely.
I do know that he's been working with Stephanie on this. I have bills
Yeah,
that show that.
okay. If you could even, you know, give me an update so I know that things are at least moving and I know what, if they had any questions, but you know, he had all the documentation and everything else that went with it.
I will see him tomorrow,
Thank you.
and he will get back to you
Okay,
tomorrow.
thanks.
As far as the new laws you keep passing, can we get them updated on E-code? E-code has 27 new laws that have not been consolidated into the code. I can name a few that, like the commercial vehicle laws that trustee Lang worked on, it's not even on the village website. So anytime we try to enforce it, we have to look up hard copies. I would imagine we're paying E-code like most municipalities. I think we just have to give them the information,
Our,
but,
I think it expired. We issued it in there.
but like, commercial vehicles, the laws we just passed today, if they're not on the website, and there's changeover in boards and things like that, it kind of just goes by wayside. And I know the board and the public work very hard on all these laws, and they should be immediately put on E-code. That's what most municipalities do, so when you search a code, it's right there. The public needs it, the building department needs it, I need it. And it's not just, it's not this board, I mean, if I just looked it up, there's laws from 2014, 2009 that are under the index of new laws. So, but like if someone wants to come foil the commercial vehicle law or ask us questions about it, we have to actually look up a hard piece of paper, just the copies that we have. Very easy, you can just Google or search it on the
And
E-code.
you're talking about the commercial that,
Yeah, like any law we've passed, local law, the ATV.
Recent deceptive for restaurants. That was moving forward.
Okay.
what's that?
The recent deceptive set was supposed to be required in the restaurants, that was never incorporated.
I think we just do a lot of work and it kind of just, I'm not sure where it goes from this point forward. But I know when I searched the ATV laws, looking at other municipalities, they're updated pretty regularly, so I'm not sure, if you want, I can help out in that. I'm not sure how easy it is to do, to email somebody the information or what the process is.
Sean Hegarty for Bellboard. The first one is an old question, it's the Parks and Recreation money from Rieger. Have you received anything in writing?
I have not received it in writing. It was an agreement.
That's like me telling you I paid my taxes, you gotta believe me?
No, because I know where to look.
Well, then you should know where to look to find out the money.
I did, instead of the recreation fees, Mr. Domingo, I believe you on the board. I don't know if you
Yeah, it was Dave Hines who did it.
Okay, the building was in lieu of,
The building was supposed to be for the water pumps, the wells that were over there.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why that would be in lieu of Parks and Recreation.
I'm
They
just
needed the
letting
water
you
for the
know
houses
what
he's putting
What I
in.
found
Yeah.
out, so when I've asked, and that's the first thing that came out of their mouth.
Yeah, I wasn't in favor of us giving up those fees for the building. I felt at the end of the day, we get the building plus the fees, since he's pretty much built Washingtonville. That was my angle on it, but it didn't turn out that way, so.
So you remember them giving up the
I
fees?
believe I was a trustee at that point, yeah, Dave was the mayor, and I was outvoted to probably 4-1.
We're gonna have to look at all
Those records, I think, went down in the flood, didn't
so in
they?
other words.
There were
no, I have
articles
not
in the
found-
Orange County Record and Post at that time about was that the traffic study, well, that was in the Post. The $1,000, we did receive some of it, and then he stopped building. And now he's built again, he finished the development. Maybe it's under a different name,
And this
but that
was
should not
only-
change the agreement with the land.
And this was only for what used to be called Bond Street, which is now High Grove.
So maybe he changed the name and he's gonna exempt himself from paying, but
I believe Rieger bought the property from, I believe his name was Steinbrenner, and he was the Bond Street guy way back when.
1960s, they've owned that property since.
Well, they probably owned it, and he was gonna develop something called Bond Street, and I think the Riegers had a piece of property, and they bought the rest of all of that from Steinbrenner.
But this isn't including Woodfield. Woodfield is totally out of it.
Woodfield was a different story, yes, that was all Rieger, different development. This is the High Grove piece that you're talking about. That's where the recreation building came into effect. And more importantly, I was gonna even ask about, because Sean just rang a bell, was in that area where the road is, there was a drilled well that was turned over to the village, which seems to have disappeared. Now, I don't know if they rolled it over and buried it.
No, I believe, right?
No, we're talking about the good one.
Yeah, the good one, yeah. I mean, they drilled several times. They had really good wells with
It's
lousy
across the
water.
street.
And they finally found good water. They piped it.
Yeah.
And supposedly they ripped up the pipe and
They did rip up
and
the
they
pipe.
buried the well. And if they did that, then if there's any maintenance bond money laying around, or talk to the attorneys, because that development, like all the developments, are supposed to have, you know, bring the resources in to supplement that development into the wells, into the water system.
But, yeah.
According to Ron Jeffries, the one pipe's all over Woodfield, and it did get very.
Well,
They ripped it up. It went in and then they pulled it out.
They do want to come in next month. I don't know if they contacted you, Chris, for the dedication of the 2 streets that have not been dedicated
Me
yet.
and John did an inspection up there, because I know they want to do that. They had some things they needed to fix before John would
Right,
even.
I think there was a small checklist he sent to me, so we can investigate this other thing prior to, if that was the deal that they made with the Village of Washingtonville, they need to owe up to the deal that they made with the Village of Washington.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it was a pretty good well. It was.
I think there were 2 that they drilled. One was okay, one was very good, and then there's one right by the house.
That was,
right by the building.
it was really good volume, but the water was no good. It was very high in some mineral content or something.
So that's the
If my
same as
memory
Memorial
serves me.
Park.
But then they drilled the second one, and that was the one that was gonna be connected to our water system once the, you know, the water chlorination system was developed inside the garage of the concession stand.
I believe it was a deep well too, right?
Yes, yeah, it was nothing 40 feet. It wasn't an aquifer type thing.
Who's responsible for the lighting at High Grove? Like right where Woodfield Park is, a street light. It is the road, if you're coming, Ahern going to High Grove, there's a curve in the road just past Skateboard Park, and it is pitch black there. There's no street light there. And you know, people speed through there anyway, and it is just, every night when I go out, well, not every night I go out, but when I'm out at night, I'm looking, I go, it is pitch black there.
Well, that should be part of the development, if there was agreed, nobody put one there on the plan.
How do Yeah, how do we find out from, John would have the site plan, right?
John would have the site plan, we'd have to just look at what they were supposed to do.
I think that was
It's
one of,
pitch black. It's-
that was one of the items that was brought up, that there's supposed to be a street light around there.
It was? Yeah.
It was,
Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know where, I don't know if it's on the curve area, but it was supposed to be somewhere.
There's nothing there.
I know that there was some chatter on Facebook a while ago, and I know Facebook is not the proper source of information. That stop signs, and they seem to be coming from past planning board members.
Interesting.
So, but we'll open it up again. So we'll work with you, Chris, with John Petrozzini, John Terry, the agreements that Rieger made with the Village of Washington.
Especially the well.
Thank you. That's good.
Yeah, especially the well. That's a big one.
Then my other question is,
You had 2 before.
I'm only gonna give you 2 out of 7.
Oh,
I'm gonna save the rest for later.
Is that like what you
That's my
buying
normal.
us for
Make
Christmas?
7 and give 2.
And,
Yeah. The outflow, or whatever you wanna call it, from Belvoir all the way over to 94, down past Ahern, the park, the dog park and all that. Is that ever gonna get cleaned out? It's so full, choked with reeds and grass and whatever else is in there, that it backs up on the heavy rain, it just backs up.
they've been
So it's not
cleaning-
flowing out.
They've been cleaning outfalls.
Well,
They
it
probably
did-
just didn't get to you.
Not by me.
Yeah, schedule.
The one that goes from the corner of Winchester, I think, not Winchester,
Where the fence got.
the fence, all the way to 94. It's all covered with reeds. Reeds are water resistant. They're blocking the water from leaving the village. That whole thing they used to clean out every couple of years. Just go in a big grub hole, or whatever they took and redig the ditch.
Yeah, during Tom DeVenco 7 Maple, during that last
You still there?
previous, I think so. I'm not going anywhere. But not this last rainstorm, the Ida, that was the name of it. They actually had water on Maple. And that area on the map shows it as a 500-year flood zone. And there was water up on the street, which I've never seen before. So to Sean's
It can't
comment,
flow out.
yeah, it's not
Because it is
flowing.
backing up in the drain in my backyard. Even a heavy rain, it's flowing backwards instead of out, because it can't go out.
I think we had more water with this past storm than we had with Ida. Ida just came,
Well, I'm not even talking about the storms, just the heavy rain. You can see it pushing back
Yeah.
instead of going out. I'll save the other 5 for another day.
Can I take number 3?
Oh, wait, that's not done.
wait,
Uh,
we'll go to the back.
Okay, you all done?
All right.
Okay, just a question. How much money is budgeted to keep the lights on in the village? How much do we pay Orange and Rockland to keep the lights on?
I don't have that number in my mind.
It's a good amount, I would say, yes? So I put in a request for a light to be fixed last month. It's still out. If you go from Washington Boulevard down to 94 on Ahern Boulevard, there's 7 lights out. Now, Larissa, you just said how dark it is over there. Just picture how dark it is for that long of a stretch. And if you're walking, running, anything could happen over there. We pay a good amount of money to keep the lights on. I put a request in for a light to be fixed. It's a month later, still out. There's one that's on Decker, right across the street from 44 Decker. It's probably been out for a year. Pitch black darkness. 94 and Newcastle. I'm surprised the car hasn't gone into that house making that turn because it's so dark. If you're coming down 94 and you want to make a left into Newcastle, you can't see that street. The light is out. Right out here, the light's out. Can we get them fixed?
I actually called, I have to call back tomorrow to go over the list. There was 45 out. According to the police, they were out last night and they went through the list. The ones that you mentioned are on the list. And there's still 24 out. So I'm gonna call tomorrow and find out about a credit for all of them that have been out. They've been out since, from the list I have, from September 28th. So Chris has been entering everything into the system. So they have them. I don't know why it's taking so long. But I'm gonna request a credit like you
A
did.
credit.
And I also wanna know how come only half has been fixed. I mean, it's almost 2 months.
Are they replacing them with LEDs or are they just replacing the bulb?
The ones that I've seen. Yeah,
Well, the ones that they have fixed.
no, to me it looks like whatever, depending on the light fixtures, they're just replacing that type of bulb. I don't see a new light fixture going up.
Do you get charged a different amount if it's an LED bulb?
No idea. I could ask.
It's,
I don't know that.
I believe it's less to operate.
That's what I'm asking. Do they charge a different amount?
Could we get a credit, extra credit? I
Well,
mean,
that's
we
what-
can pay a lot of money,
That's definitely what
you
I'm
know,
hoping to get.
or fix them.
Yeah,
I'm sure if you ask for some money back, they'd fix them really quick,
right.
just my opinion.
No, I agree.
You were successful doing that also.
Right,
so,
but, you know, you gotta stay on top of it. But you go down Ahern, it's pitch black out there, it's no good. My second question is, do I get 2 questions?
You get 2.
Okay, good. I remember at, you talking about commercial vehicles, chief. What's the story with commercial vehicles parked on people's driveways, easements? I know on Congress, there's the landscaper, he's got 3 trailers. Revere, there's 2 trailers, 2 trucks. Right on Decker, someone's plopped a truck right on their front lawn. I think there's a law that says you
That's
can't
what
have
the
a
chief was
commercial
referring to.
vehicle.
Yeah.
And you put the law in place, like you just said, chief, you put a law in place and you don't enforce it, well, that just opens the door for everybody else. Throwing your grass into the street, the leaves into the street, oh, the street sweeper's gonna clean it. No, there's a law, you put it in a bag, everybody else does it, you know? If you enforce the law,
and just teach people. Because at the end of the day, we all want our property to look nice. And the village to look good.
Yes.
Tom D'Amico, 7 Maple, on the lighting. I'm not sure if anybody's been down through the village parking lot. I was out picking up one of my friend's kids from dance, and just happened,
Which village parking lot?
the one down, the Main Street, by the dance studio.
iPad? Yeah.
So if someone could take a look, I just think there's 2 lights there. It's super dim, and especially this time of year, the kids are out of that school and they're all over the place. And there's no, cars are coming in both directions, and maybe even, as I'm thinking of this, as you come in from South Street with an arrow saying one way, I can't tell you how many times I'm coming in that direction to pick up somebody, and the cars are trying to make a left. And it's just, common sense, I would think, but, it goes sometimes out with the window. But the lighting over there it's super dim. There's only 2 halogen type, and one's on one side and one's way on the other side, and it's very dim, very dim.
And the footbridge is
And
dark.
the footbridge, that's obviously dark.
Put a sign up coming in one way. Is that something we would have to get the state involved with?
Well, it's in your parking lot, I don't think so. I'm saying as you come, you're passing the laundromat, and then where you would normally make the right by the laundromat to loop around, just on
Oh,
that,
there, okay.
right there on that
Front.
island, just put up a
Okay.
nice, decent size one way this way, so they're paying attention, and then they'll see the,
I thought
the
you
angle.
meant further out on 208.
no, this is in the parking lot, so.
Isn't there a sign though, but isn't there a sign that says, one way?
I don't think so.
It's
There used to be.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
I remember seeing one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It used to be, but
It's gotta be high enough, obviously, over the top of the car so that you can, as you're pulling in,
I think
sticks out
it
like a
got
sore thumb.
repurposed in somebody's bedroom.
Oh.
We did try, I spoke to John Terry regarding that whole parking lot there. What belongs to the village? What belongs to the owners of the property? Okay, and he was looking into it, and that's all I could really say, that he was looking into it. Because owners of the properties have designated their own